Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel now. Get ready to read one of the stupidest things you have ever read in 2023. Now, when I first heard about this story, I did not think that this was a real story. Like, I had a really hard time believing that this was real, because when looking at the title and looking at what is being talked about in this article, it almost is as if it was like a Babylon Bee or something that is written by The Onion, so like satire. But no, this is an actual real story, and this is actually what is considered like an issue in today's society, according to this article. This is from CNN, in case you guys are wondering. So apparently we got ourselves yet another big racial issue in America today that we need to talk about and address. You know, they're just trying to dovetail yet another Newspeak 1984 concept in under their whole pennant of CRT and the 1619 cult. We got systemic racism, we got 1619, racist math, and now digital blackface. Yes, this is their newly invented Newspeak term for white people sharing memes and GIFs that happen to contain black people in them. I guess this is kind of like, you know, a little bit of like a linchpin with the whole concept of cultural appropriation. Although it goes well beyond than just that alone. They essentially compare it to minstrelsy and stuff like that. I will talk about that later in the video. It's just funny. I thought that basically, like, so you're trying to erase black people from the internet, is what I'm getting from this article. I suppose no images of black people there are inappropriate. Like if a white person posts them, they need to be chastised. Like, you must be shunned from society, you white Yankee, devil bitch. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, some of the libtards and the leftoids latches onto this and they attempt to, like, scrub the internet of such memes, which would be quite comical to witness. Sort of like the inverse of, like, the disappearance of straight white characters in Hollywood movies and American commercials nowadays. So now digital blackface is considered the new racial issue that is a problem in America, and CNN, no surprise, decided that they needed to write an entire article about it, you know, going into detail about what exactly it is, what the problem is, why is it a problem exactly, and why you, as a white person, are a goddamn fucking racist. Link in the description archived, of course. I am going to have to read the article verbatim and putting some excerpts on screen because there are a ton of points that I would like to make about the concept of digital blackface. Obviously, it's a made-up term, but according to this article, it is a legitimate thing. So we're going to be going on a little bit of a venture here and describe why, according to CNN, you are the biggest scumbag on the internet just by posting memes containing black people, and we're going to figure out just exactly how digital blackface is destroying this country and is a big threat to America. Anyways, let me read some of this verbatim. I will put the excerpts that I'm reading on your screen, and if you already have the article opened up, you can do the little bouncy ball thing like you do with the cursor as I'm reading along, sort of like how karaoke machines used to operate. So anyways, maybe you shared that viral video of Kimberly Sweet Brown Wilkins telling a reporter after narrowly escaping an apartment fire, "Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that." Perhaps you posted that meme of supermodel Tyra Banks exploding in anger on America's Next Top Model. "I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you!" Or maybe you've simply posted popular GIFs, such as the one of NBA great Michael Jordan crying, or of drag queen RuPaul declaring, "Girl." If you're black and you've shared such images online, you get a pass. But if you're white, you may have inadvertently perpetuated one of the most insidious forms of contemporary racism. You may be wearing digital blackface. Okay, so yes, they're actually going with this. And the argument that is being made here is basically like I'm white, right? I'm white. So as a white person, if I were to go on Twitter and if I were to, like, you know, use a GIF that contains a black person reacting to something or laughing or showing an emotion or saying something as a relatable moment to a conversation. For instance, like at times when people say something logical or relatable, I sometimes post the famous thinking GIF of that Eddie Murphy doppelganger doing the think gesture. Apparently, according to this article, just by posting that GIF alone, I am now committing digital blackface. And the reason for this is because pink and blue-haired millennial and Generation Z weirdos who write articles like this, especially for the legacy media, are such snowflakes. They're used to getting participation awards and are used to having their asses kissed nonstop. These individuals are used to getting rewarded for doing nothing and have ultimately decided that the internet is so goddamn serious and is such a realistic depiction of everybody's lives and the world around them to these people. And this is realistically the reason why wokeness became a thing. This is why Antifa exists. That's why you see nonstop craptivism going on when the littlest things go wrong. You know, getting off the internet and getting an actual job, going out to the beach, riding their bike, or going to the park for a little walk or something is just beyond belief. Because, the world doesn't exist outside the internet to these people. Those are some of the actual reasonings, at least that I can come up with, to why anyone would think that digital blackface is a real problem that needs to be tackled or really exists in the first place. There's actually a lot more that I want to talk about in this article, and there's a lot more that I'm going to read verbatim before I get into my actual response, which I think will be quite humorous to say the least. I think you'll enjoy my response to this. It will be predictable and expected. If you're still not sure how to define digital blackface, Jackson offers a guide. She says it, quote, includes displays of emotions stereotyped as excessive. So happy, so sassy, so ghetto, so loud, our dial is on 10 all the time. Rarely are black characters afforded subtle traits or feelings. Many white people choose images of black people when it comes to expressing exaggerated emotions on social media. A burden that black people didn't ask for, she says. We are your sass, your nonchalance, your fury, your delight, your annoyance, your happy dance, your diva, your shade, your yes moments, Jackson writes. The weight of reaction gifing, period, rests on our shoulders. Okay, that has got to be perhaps the stupidest and the most actually mentally fragile snowflake shit that I have ever read in my entire life. White people using reaction GIFs and images of black people to express memes and exaggerated emotions on social media is, quote, a burden that black people didn't ask for. Alright. That right there is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. When I read that line, the whole burden that black people didn't ask for, when I read that, I'm thinking to myself, some of the burdens and some of the struggles that maybe black people didn't ask for throughout history in the United States. Let's go ahead and look at some of these examples, right? Let's go look at and see if any of these examples are maybe just as bad, if not worse than, somebody using a fucking meme on the internet, okay? I wonder if, being beaten, abused, tortured, and or sold into slavery, killed for trying to escape, dehumanized, not being considered a human, only being considered 3/5 of a person in US law back in the day, and being whipped by their masters while picking cotton, being forced into labor 12 hours a day with no breaks and no food for 250 years. I wonder if that was a burden that, all of these black people from the 19th century when slavery was still legal, I wonder if that's a burden that they've asked for, right? You would think that maybe, just maybe, that was a hell of a lot worse than seeing some white person use a picture of Michael Jordan on Twitter to show emotion, right? Well, let's continue using other examples, right? Let's just continue using other examples. Think of other couple of examples here. Oh, okay. What about the people who went through Jim Crow, who had shitty living conditions, couldn't be around white people, couldn't be able to vote despite it being legal because of rigged literacy tests and inflated poll taxes? I wonder if that's a burden that they've asked for, compared to somebody using a meme on the internet. What about apartheid in South Africa? Is that a burden that black citizens there ask for? Is that better than some white person using GIFs that contain black people? I wonder what the people of Rosewood down here in my home state thought of after every single one of their citizens were beaten to death and killed by the KKK and their entire city and community completely wiped off the face of the earth. I wonder what they think about digital blackface if that's the burden that they didn't ask for. I wonder if all these black people in Tulsa, which is a similar situation to Rosewood, who were beaten, killed, had their goddamn houses burned down to the fucking ground, and their businesses burnt down, their churches or schools, and their entire communities destroyed by white mobs, actual racists like the KKK, KKK members that were appointed as deputies by the sheriffs in that area. By the way, they were Democrats, just so we were aware. I wonder if they, thought that digital blackface was an issue that their community faced. I wonder if the people of Tulsa and Rosewood think that digital blackface is an issue that they've had to suffer through. I wonder if that would be considered a problem to them. I wonder if Rosa Parks had to deal with digital blackface. I wonder what she would have thought of the concept of digital blackface after being arrested and put in jail just because she refused to give up her seat in the front of the bus to a white person. I wonder what she would have thought about digital blackface. I wonder what Emmett Till would have thought about this, right? I wonder if he would have think that, digital blackface is a real big issue for the black community after he was mutilated, shot, violently beaten to death, and lynched, and had his body thrown into the Mississippi River at the age of 14 after being falsely accused of whistling at a white woman in a store. I wonder what he has to say about digital blackface. I wonder what he has to say. I wonder what he and his parents would have to say about digital blackface and how big of an issue it is to their community. Do you see what I mean? Do you guys already get the point? This is exactly why this is literally the stupidest thing ever written, that white people using GIFs and memes with black people in them is a burden that black people didn't ask for. It's just stupid. It's just throughout history, there has been a handful of issues in American society in the past that black people had to deal with, unfortunately, that may or may not have been a burden that black people didn't ask for. From slavery to segregation to racist attacks. Now let's go ahead and compare those burdens that black people didn't ask for to the horrific burden of having to see a fucking picture of LeBron James or Kobe Bryant on a white kid's profile online. I wonder which one's worse, right? Which one is worse? And it's also insane because, this also suggests in the article that blacks are the only race of people on the entire planet who have exaggerated displays of emotions, and they're apparently quote-unquote so happy, so sassy, so ghetto, and so loud, their dial is on 10 all the time. Really? How long have you been on the internet, and how many memes have you actually reviewed for this to make that exact conclusion? You must have gone to a place that is really notorious for having a lot of racially charged shit. You went to some random ass site, you probably at this point, you didn't even go to Reddit or even 4chan. Where the fuck have you gone? Have you been on an Xbox game chat? Where the fuck are you? Where on the internet did you go that you got this particular hyperbolic and far-fetched, almost stereotypical take on what black people memes tend to pertain to? If you believe that the only people who do, say, or act like this way are black people, which to me seems pretty more goddamn racist than any white kid using the "ain't nobody got time for that" GIF to react to something, or any other GIF or meme that contains black people. The idea that all black people do this just to be loud and expressive all the time seems a little bit more racially motivated than the bullshit you're trying to say we're doing is racist. Right? I don't understand. I really do not understand this whatsoever. Well, this is just like a minstrel show. It's no different from blackface 100 years ago. Okay, so all of them have watermelon dancing around in the image or something like that. That's not the case at all. You don't even see any of this type of shit on 4chan or Discord. Some may say posting a video of Sweet Brown saying, "Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire," is just for laughs. Why overthink it? Why give people yet another excuse for labeling white people racists for the most innocuous behavior? Exactly. That's what we're trying to ask here. Why give people yet another excuse for labeling white people racists for the most innocuous behaviors? This is supposedly considered controversial, but at the end of the day, it should not be. Just going around randomly labeling everyone a racist, calling everybody a Nazi for the most innocuous behaviors actually does more damage to race relations than you might think. It doesn't actually mend race relations. It doesn't solve racial issues. It doesn't make black people and white people get along any better. It's not helping to solve any race relation issues that we may have even in modern society here in the United States. It is set to further divide people and possibly create more white supremacists and more black nationalists. And that's what I wish people really understood. Black, white, brown, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, doesn't matter, right? This is why critical race theory should not be taught in schools. Because when you see people, and you see shows like the Proud Family reboot, telling people that slaves built the country, and that all white people are racist because of the color of their skin, or telling people that whiteness is a pandemic, these people do not realize that they're doing more harm than good. This is not meant to repair race relations whatsoever. When you're telling people, like in this article, what they're doing is racist, giving them more excuses as to why they're racist, continue to teach everybody that the United States is a racist country because the system is created by white people and for white people and prevents people of color from succeeding. This does nothing to actually fix any problems. It does nothing to address a real issue. You're gonna create, more racially motivated attacks with white people, which leads to the increase of white supremacy. This evil that you seek to destroy and end. You're only creating it with this shit. That's why critical race theory and the 1619 Project both need to be stomped into the goddamn ground. Now keep in mind, there are still many instances and examples of racial issues that still persists in modern American society, but those aren't what's being focused here on the legacy media. It's the one thing possible that they could write about that is a non-issue because they can use this to divide people even more. And they like it because they all profit off of it. You've ever heard of the phrase divide and conquer? But critics say digital blackface is wrong because it's a modern day repackaging of minstrel shows, a racist form of entertainment popular in the 19th century. That's when white actors, faces darkened with burnt cork, entertained audiences by playing black characters as bumbling, happy-go-lucky simpletons. That practice continued in the 20th century on hit radio shows such as Amos and Andy. Put simply, digital blackface is 21st century minstrelsy. So what I'm getting from this is a white person posting a GIF or a meme that contains a black person is considered 21st century minstrelsy. They actually said that. Now, it goes further than that. Yeah, it's sort of like peters around like the civil rights movement era, but simply digital blackface is 21st century minstrelsy. That is absolutely untrue. In no way this is considered 21st century minstrelsy. However, Styx did mention something in his video, and he has talked about this before, I believe, last year, and he compared like the drag shows being considered like the modern day equivalent of minstrel shows back in the 19th and 20th centuries. That right there is kind of like the closest thing we have to that. Now, I know what you guys are about to say. Well, Axiom, don't you know that criticizing drag shows is homophobic? Why are you being homophobic? Don't you like the LGBTQ community? Here's the thing. I, as a bi individual myself, do not approve of kids going to these shows. There is a reason why Brandon Rogers puts a not for kids disclaimer on his videos. And to be fair, historically speaking, they are similar. Of course, painting your face black and doing some wacky dances and some crazy things is not really in the concurrent sense, obviously not politically correct doing it, and making it about females and the whole hyper-feminization of the minstrel show offshoot, which is literally what, again, the whole drag concept is, at least in the modern form. It is considered widely accepted, and it's supposedly considered family-friendly. There are other options to teach people about LGBTQ acceptance without doing that. The Owl House is perfect to teach kids about this. And it's no attempts to be woke whatsoever. For some reason, Disney thinks that a Proud Family reboot that tells kids that America is a racist country
This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country,
is a much more important and lucrative show than their most popular show and their only good modern show, which has 2 female characters in love without any attempt of being woke and are only just doing their own thing. Point is, drag has roots from minstrel shows in that same 1800s evolutionary offspring of a now dead format of comedy and entertainment. And comparing a white kid using a meme with a black person in it to someone putting on blackface and doing a sand shuffle is really apples to oranges. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Nobody is posting those memes, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, or whatever, except in the form of a reaction image itself. You have not engaged in digital blackface. You've used fucking internet memes. It's not the same thing. Like, it's almost mind-boggling that they're making digital blackface out to be such this serious and massive racial issue in this article that it's apparently equivalent to legitimate actual racist blackface that took place in American society in the 19th and 20th centuries with the people painting their faces black and doing a sand shuffle. It's such a big, widespread, horrible problem that it's such a massive racial issue that they can't even goddamn define what it fucking means correctly. Usually, if there is something, like there is actually a legitimate societal and existential problem that needs to be addressed, and people have to come together and unite as one to take care of it, we can all come to the consensus with like a common definition of what that problem is and how we can solve it. But because this isn't a problem whatsoever, and it's not even a real goddamn issue in the first place, there's no definition for it because it's not a real word. It's just a newspeak term that they made up, invented and made up for and by people who want to constantly feel offended by everything, who want to consistently feel like they're the victim, or feel like they're actually doing something in the name of racial justice, all in an attempt to be woke. This is not a legitimate racial issue. 95% of black people who would look at this, they would fucking ridicule this piece. Because it's actually insane and bizarre to think that this is actually a legitimately real problem going on in society. There are real racists out there. Not all of them are white. There are legitimate instances of racism occurring every single day across this country and throughout the world, no matter where you live. And this is where our racial focus needs to be. Like, this is how we are going to bond those relations between races and come together as one. Abso-fucking-lutely not. And it's not meant to be that way whatsoever. When you really think about it, to be fair, what these people are pretty much actually arguing for is a form of digital discrimination and digital meme segregation. I guess they want digital meme discrimination or something like that. We need to get out ahead of their other attempts and create our own newspeak linguistic label and give it our own meaning. So just refer it to that way. Digital segregation, digital discrimination, digital meme segregation is what they have in mind, where white people can't use reaction GIFs and images of black people and vice versa, even if it's just memes, because that would be racist, right? I guess the idea is black people can only post about black people, white people can only post about white people, Hispanics can only post about Hispanics, Asians about Asians, and whatnot. It's gonna be a more fucked up internet that way. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. These people legitimately want the internet to be so segregated that entire races of people don't use each other's pictures or memes or whatever. That is actually the most goddamn fucking brain-dead thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. The whole point of memes, of course, tends to be that they're entertaining, they make you laugh, or there's some sort of bits of information that's conveyed in as irreducible complexity, usually is possible if that's any good. This is, by the way, exactly why the left can't meme. Because instead of having like a couple of sentences here and there along with a funny image, or something that is a little bit more irreducible like the troll face or Sanic or Pepe the Frog or Wojak, they just call the original meme racist, and years from now, they will then attempt to take that same meme, corrupt it, and elaborate upon it layer after layer, bit by bit. It tends to get more convoluted, and as a result, the meme that they create becomes cringe. Like, the over-exclamation aspect with no punchline whatsoever is why it's not funny. It's exactly why these memes are considered cringe. Like, come on, like, what is this shit? Like, keep it, like, lip-tards, like, Jesus Christ, do we have to start an online class to teach mentally stunned and terminally online leftists how to create memes or something? Because I can tell you that, we're definitely doing a better job than most of you. There is no such thing as digital blackface. What there is now, with this whole concept, is an attempt to, again, Create digital segregation. So the color of your skin, which people may not even know online depending on which site you're using. Like if you're like on like 4chan or Reddit, nobody knows that you're black. Nobody knows that you're white. Nobody knows that you're Hispanic. Nobody knows if you're straight, gay, or bisexual. Nobody knows if you're a male or female and whatnot. If you're on Twitter or if you're on Discord and you don't have yourself as the avatar and you don't show your face, you're not in the voice calls on Discord that often and you don't put on your webcam, you don't have any identifying information. Nobody knows your gender, your sexual orientation, your race, and whatnot. For instance, like on Twitter, if somebody says, well, I'm a Purple Heart General in the Navy SEALs, retired, and I helped raid Osama bin Laden, and I'm also a rocket scientist who works for NASA, so my opinion's worth more than yours. Well, yeah, okay. I have no evidence of that whatsoever. Oh, you have a blue check mark right next to your name? Yeah, nice try, buddy. You know you can pay $8 a month just to have a blue check mark right next to your name, right? You know, if I were to be completely and totally anonymous online on a certain website, maybe I do have a burner Twitter account. You don't even know that. How would you even know that someone is secretly me? I can claim that I'm a Harvard graduate and I have a doctorate degree on law, and so my opinion is clearly better than yours about some legal topic. You have no clue. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, there is just no justifying aspect to this article whatsoever. I'm not even surprised that CNN is where this analysis is being posted. And this isn't even a fucking opinion piece, by the way. That's the crazy part. This isn't even considered an op-ed. This is by John Blake. This is an analysis section for CNN. Historical blackface has never truly ended, and Americans have yet to actively confront their racist past to this day. Aaron Wong writes on the academic paper on the topic. In fact, minstrel blackface has emerged into even more subtle forms of racism that are now glorified all over the internet. Wong says that digital blackface is wrong because it, quote, culturally appropriates the language and expressions of black people for entertainment, while dismissing the severity of everyday instances of racism black people encounter, such as police brutality, job discrimination, and educational inequity. No, it doesn't. It does not dismiss the severity of everyday instances of racism that black people encounter to post a goddamn fucking reaction meme on the internet. The fact that there are actually people who legitimately believe this, like the old folks who don't understand the internet, along with the cringe fringe leftoids who read this, and actually believe what they're reading. It's just so goddamn insane. Like, how woke do you have to be? Like, how woke do you have? Like, how terminally online and how mentally woke do you have to be to genuinely believe that real-life blackface that existed for centuries is the exact same thing as someone using a reaction GIF or a reaction meme on the internet to reply to a certain tweet? Please explain this to me. Please explain to me how the intent, the execution, the connotation, anything is similar to that whatsoever. Because it's fucking not. If anything, the only thing that should be compared to like historic real-life blackface is again, drag. That's the closest thing. Or critical race theory, which is essentially white supremacy in blackface. It's actually pretty fucking ridiculous that people like to say stupid shit like this, and they believe this stupid shit, and they actually believe what they're actually saying, and then they go out and they write for the legacy media and other massive media outlets, and they actually get thousands of people to read this shit. It's actually fucking disgusting. It's completely bizarre. It's pathetic. It's just pathetic. And again, this isn't even considered an op-ed. This is an analysis piece for CNN, not opinion-based whatsoever. Besides, Halford says if she refrains from using any black memes, she runs into another problem. Those are the most effective, because white people are so boring, she says. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. White people are boring. Well, they're the ones who are making most of these non-boring memes, just so we are aware. They're even the ones who made these GIFs, by the way. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna call that digital slavery now? Is that gonna be your new thing? Whoa, oh my god, these people are committing digital slavery. They keep using black people images. They're basically treating them like they treated the slaves. They're using these images and they're making these memes and making millions of dollars from them. And the people who are in these memes get no attribution whatsoever. They're not getting a cut of the money. That could, in fact, be the next thing they're going to write about. Digital slavery. I wonder if that's going to be their new racial issue that they're going to push. Anyway, you can go through and read the rest of the article for yourself if you want. Digital blackface. No, it's not digital blackface. There is no such thing as digital blackface. It is completely made up. It's you involved in digital meme discrimination. You involved in digital meme segregation. Digital discrimination, digital segregation. I mean, come on, just admit that you don't like white people, you don't like people having fun, you don't like people being entertained, you don't like people creating their own things on the internet. You're literally offended by anything and everything, and you realize that the vast majority of the effective, entertaining, and the most famous memes are overwhelmingly run and were created by people who tend to have political views that are vastly different from your own. Because you're fucking stupid. Because you're that terminally online, and you probably are trying to drop this entire concept so that way you can take credit for having invented the term, and that way you can invent more of these terms, and you can start to create more bullshit racial issues that aren't even real racial issues to begin with, so that way you can eventually write a New York Times best-selling book about how bad white people are. That's essentially what this is. So no, posting a reaction image that contains a black person is not racist. There is no such thing as digital blackface. Memes are not minstrelsy. The fact that they are considering this as a legitimate racial issue is just absolutely fucking stupid. The only thing that I would consider racism is articles like this in the first place, and the critical race theory stuff and the 1619 project that's being promoted by the woke left. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below, and if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias, links are in the description below. Don't forget to follow me on all the new tech sites. There are several other links to several other sites that I use. I'm already active on Rumble, so don't forget to follow me on the Rumble channel, and I do plan on being more active on Odyssey and BitChute as well. That is, if I can figure out how to link the YouTube channel to have the same videos uploaded there. I'm still figuring that out. Share this video with all your friends, family, boyfriend, girlfriend, enemy, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you share this video around. Of course, I always end the conversation down to you, so leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to join me on the Discord server where you can, talk to me, hang out with me, play video games with me, and send me some news, tips, and ideas that I can cover in a future video. My DMs are open there on Discord. I can't respond to everything I get, but I always try my best. Anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.